You see, most people spend their entire lives chasing money. They run after it as though it were a lover who keeps walking away, and the more they chase, the faster it escapes. They treat it as though it were the source of all their joy, their security, their power. But have you ever noticed that the people who seem to attract abundance effortlessly, who live in a kind of graceful flow, are not the ones who desperately chase it? No, they are the ones who seem to dance with life rather than struggle with it. So let's begin by asking something quite radical. What is money, really? For most of us, money is energy made visible. It's the crystallization of our ability to exchange value, to contribute, to create. But when we attach fear to it, fear of not having enough, fear of losing it, fear of being without it, begins to behave like a frightened animal. You can't capture it by chasing it. You can only invite it by creating an environment of trust, openness, and flow. Now, if you observe your own mind carefully, you'll see that the very thought of money often triggers tension in the body. It stirs a subtle anxiety, a restlessness. This anxiety is the energy that repels what you seek, because in that moment you are declaring to the universe, I do not have. You're identifying yourself as the person who is lacking, and therefore, that is the reality you continue to experience. But when you understand that money, like the wind, flows to those who do not clutch at it, when you begin to embody the feeling of already being abundant, you align yourself with the rhythm of the universe itself. Let me tell you something very simple but very profound. Money is not earned, it is allowed. Yes, there are actions you take, work you do, effort you make, but all of that is secondary. The primary condition is your state of consciousness. You can work yourself into exhaustion. You can push and struggle and strategize, but if your consciousness is rooted in fear, in lack, in doubt, you are pushing against the current of life. You are trying to swim upstream. But when you release that effortful striving, when you surrender to the natural current of abundance that already flows through existence, everything changes. Because in truth, abundance is the very nature of this universe. Look around you, nature never hoards. The trees don't struggle to grow leaves. The ocean doesn't count its waves. The sun doesn't ration its light. And yet we, the most conscious beings of all, have somehow forgotten that life itself is abundant. We believe we must earn what existence already offers freely. So let me ask you, what if the key to attracting money quickly was not about doing more, but being more? What if it's about stepping into a new state of awareness, one that matches the vibration of abundance itself? You see, money responds to the same laws that govern everything else in the universe: vibration and consciousness. The energy you hold in your thoughts, emotions, and body is constantly sending signals out into the field of reality. If your signal is, I don't have enough, then life reflects that frequency right back to you. But when your signal becomes, I am complete, I am already abundant, I am grateful, the universe has no choice but to mirror that state back to you as form, as opportunity, as unexpected flow. This is why the people who truly understand the nature of money never worry about it. They may lose it, they may gain it, but their peace remains the same. For they know that money is a guest, not a master. And like any guest, it visits those who make space for it, not those who desperately cling. So many people live in a constant vibration of worry, checking their bank account each day, counting pennies, stressing about bills. But here's the truth. When you fixate on what you lack, you create more of that lack. Energy follows attention. The more attention you give to scarcity, the more scarcity expands in your reality. But if, even for a few moments a day, you can feel wealth, not think about it, not hope for it, but actually feel it in your heart, you begin to alter your energetic frequency. And when your frequency changes, the external world reorganizes itself to match it. You might say, but Alan, how can I feel wealthy when I'm surrounded by debt? Ah, that is precisely the paradox of it. You must feel it before you see it, not after. Because feeling is the creative force. It is not a reaction, it is the cause. When you truly understand this, when you live as though your wealth already exists in the unseen, the seen will follow naturally. You don't plant a seed and then dig it up every morning to see if it's growing. You trust that it is. You water it, you nourish it, and you allow it to bloom in its own time. In the same way, money grows where trust is planted. Now, most people's relationship with money is built on fear and guilt. We've been conditioned since childhood to believe that money is scarce, that it's hard to get, that it corrupts. We've inherited centuries of collective anxiety about it. But all of that is illusion. Money itself has no morality. It is a mirror. It simply amplifies what already exists within you. If you are generous, it amplifies your generosity. If you are fearful, it amplifies your fear. That's why so many people who win the lottery lose it quickly. They attract the money, but never transform their consciousness. They remain energetically poor. To attract wealth quickly, one must stop thinking about money and begin thinking as wealth itself. Imagine for a moment that you already had more than enough, that every need of yours was met with ease. Feel how your body relaxes. Your breath slows. The tightness in your chest loosens. That right there is the frequency of abundance. And in that frequency, ideas flow, synchronicities occur. People appear at the right time. That's how money comes quickly, by becoming a match to it. It's not magic, it's resonance. The problem is that we've been taught to separate the inner and outer worlds, as though they're two different realities. But the truth is, they are one seamless process. The outer is merely the echo of the inner. So when you change the way you feel about money, the external conditions must follow. This is why the mystics always said, seek first the kingdom within. Because when your inner world is rich, peaceful, confident, and grateful, your outer world will mirror that back to you in forms that look like wealth, opportunity, and prosperity. Now, I'm not saying to simply sit around imagining piles of gold while doing nothing. No, that's not the point. The point is to act from inspiration, not desperation. When your state is right, your actions become effortless and precise. You begin to move in harmony with the intelligence of the universe, which is infinitely more capable than your thinking mind. When you operate from fear, your actions are scattered, forced, and exhausting. But when you operate from trust, your actions are aligned. You begin to meet the right people, stumble upon the right ideas, and follow the right impulses without needing to plan it all. This is what I mean by money comes quickly. Not because you've mastered some secret formula, but because you've stopped resisting the natural flow that was trying to reach you all along. Money, like love, flows to those who are open to it. You cannot beg it. You cannot threaten it. You cannot chase it. You can only become available to it. And how do you become available? By releasing the emotional charge that keeps you bound to scarcity. By forgiving yourself for the years of struggle. By letting go of the guilt you feel about wanting more. And by recognizing that abundance is not selfish, it's sacred. Because the more you have, the more you can share, the more you can uplift, the more you can create. You see, the universe delights in circulation. It's a dance of giving and receiving. When you cling, the dance stops. When you give and allow, the music flows. So, if you want money to come quickly, start by circulating what you already have, be it gratitude, kindness, time, or even a small portion of your income. Because when you act as though you already have enough to give, you signal to life, I am abundant. And life responds accordingly. I've often said, the meaning of life is just to be alive. And in that same way, the meaning of abundance is simply to express itself. When you stop worrying, stop controlling, stop trying to force it, money flows as naturally as your next breath. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who lived in constant struggle. He worked hard, saved every penny, and worried about losing it all. One day, exhausted by his anxiety, he met a teacher who told him, you are trying to control the river, my friend. But the river doesn't need your control, it needs your trust. The man didn't understand at first. But slowly, he began to release his grip. He stopped working out of fear and began working out of joy. He started spending money with gratitude instead of guilt. And soon, life began to change. Opportunities came. People appeared. Money began to flow in ways he could never have planned. He hadn't changed the world, he had changed his state. And that is what I want you to see. Money is not a thing you pursue. It is a reflection of the state of being you inhabit. If you're tense, afraid, or desperate, it will always feel distant. But if you are relaxed, trusting, and aligned with the rhythm of life, it comes quickly, easily, joyfully. So let this be your experiment. For the next few days, stop thinking about getting money and start thinking about being wealth. Act from abundance, not from fear. Give with gratitude, not hesitation. Speak as though your prosperity is already here, because in truth it is. The universe has already said yes. It's only waiting for you to believe it. And when you do, money will no longer be something you chase. It will become something that chases you. Now that we've begun to see money not as an enemy to conquer, but as a companion to understand, let us go even deeper. You see, the question is never really about money. It's about your relationship to life. Money simply mirrors how you relate to existence itself. Do you trust it? Do you allow it? Or do you resist it because of fear, guilt, or unworthiness? Every moment of your life is an exchange with the universe. You breathe in, you breathe out. You receive, you give. You cannot separate one from the other. So why then do we believe that abundance could be any different? If you truly listen, you'll notice that the very energy that animates your body, that beats your heart and makes the trees grow, is the same energy that brings opportunities, clients, ideas, and yes, even money. It is all one movement, the movement of life, giving itself to itself. But the human mind has learned to interrupt this flow with thought. We say, I don't have enough. I must hold on. What if it runs out? And in that moment of contraction, we separate ourselves from the current. Imagine the universe as an infinite river of energy. Money is simply one of the many forms that river takes as it flows through your experience. You don't create the river, you only open or close the channels through which it can pass. And what opens those channels? Gratitude. Not the polite kind of gratitude, the one we mutter at dinner tables. I mean cellular gratitude, the kind that vibrates through your being, that says thank you not with words, but with your entire existence. When you live in gratitude, your energy expands, your body softens, your heart opens. You become like fertile soil, ready to receive. And in that openness, the river flows. But when you live in complaint, in scarcity, in fear, your energy contracts. You become rigid. You resist the flow. And the river, respecting your resistance, flows elsewhere. That is why I often say the universe doesn't punish, it mirrors. If you live in abundance, it mirrors abundance. If you live in lack, it mirrors lack. So the secret is not to get more money, but to feel more alive. To align yourself with the aliveness of existence. To trust that the same intelligence that created galaxies knows how to take care of you too. Now, many people will say, Alan, that sounds too easy. Surely, we must do something to make it happen. And I would say, yes, you must be something before you do something. Action without alignment is chaos. But when you first align your inner world, when you act from stillness, clarity, and trust, then every action becomes powerful. You could make one small movement, and it ripples across the universe. This is what I mean. When I say that money comes quickly after knowing this, because the moment you stop acting from desperation, the universe stops giving you desperate situations. When your energy shifts, time itself seems to bend around you. You begin to find yourself in the right places, hearing the right words, meeting the right people. Things that once took months happen in days. Not because life suddenly changed, but because you did. You entered a new frequency. Let me give you a picture. Imagine two radio stations. One broadcasts fear, lack, and effort. The other broadcasts joy, abundance, and flow. You cannot receive the second station by complaining that the first one has bad music. You must change the dial. That dial is your inner state, your vibration. And the moment you tune to gratitude, presence, and trust, you connect to a whole different reality. The beauty of this is that it requires no force. You don't have to convince the universe of your worth. You only have to stop doubting it. Let's talk about trust, because it's the very foundation of abundance. Trust is the art of letting go of control. It's knowing that even if you can't see how things will work out, Something deeper than you is already handling it. It's like breathing. You don't have to control each breath, you simply allow it. But we've been conditioned to believe that if we don't control everything, it will all fall apart. That's an illusion born from fear. When you look at nature, you'll notice that nothing is controlling anything, and yet everything works perfectly. The seasons come and go, the planets orbit, the flowers bloom, all without anxiety. So, what if your financial flow could be the same? What if you didn't have to force money, but simply align with its rhythm, just as the ocean aligns with the moon? You see, when you truly trust life, you stop grasping at outcomes. You stop trying to make things happen on your timeline. And ironically, that's when things start to happen faster, because there's no longer resistance. It's like unclenching a fist that's been gripping too tightly. Suddenly, blood flows again. Energy moves again. Money, too, begins to move. Now, one of the greatest illusions of modern life is that success equals effort. That the harder you push, the more you'll achieve. But if that were true, the most exhausted people would be the richest. And that's clearly not the case. Real wealth comes not from effort, but from alignment. When your inner being and your outer action are aligned, things happen with astonishing speed and ease. You may write one email that changes your business. You may have one conversation that opens a new door. You may follow one intuitive nudge that leads to a flow of abundance you never imagined. That's not luck, that's resonance. You are finally vibrating at the frequency where opportunities live. Now, here's something subtle but deeply important. Stop worshiping money. When you idolize it, you push it away. Because in worship, you create separation, you place it above you. But when you honor it as a friend, a flow, a mirror of your energy, it becomes approachable. It becomes play. Think of the way children play with sand on the beach. They build castles, knowing the tide will come and wash them away. And yet they build with joy. They understand impermanence. They don't cling. If you can treat money the same way, build with joy, release with ease, trust the flow, you will never fear it again. Because you will know with unshakable clarity that the tide always returns. This is the great secret. You cannot lose what you have become. When you become abundance itself, when your very state of being radiates wealth, gratitude, and love, no amount of external fluctuation can take that from you. That's when money truly comes quickly, because you no longer need it to define you. You have already claimed your identity as the source, not the seeker. Let's go even deeper still. Behind every desire for money lies a deeper desire for freedom, for peace, for safety, for joy. But here's the cosmic joke. Those feelings are available right now. The money is only the symbol, not the source. When you realize this, you can go straight to the source. You can feel freedom now. You can feel joy now. And because the universe mirrors your state, the external wealth will follow not as the cause of your joy, but as its reflection. This is why those who are truly free never chase, they attract. They understand that everything in this universe is consciousness interacting with consciousness. There is no separation between you and money. It is made of the same energy you are. So the moment you stop seeing yourself as the one without, and instead as the consciousness through which abundance expresses itself, everything you once chased begins to chase you. But don't take my word for it. Try it. For the next week, wake each morning and say to yourself, I already live in abundance. Not as a mantra of hope, but as a statement of fact. Then, act as if it were true. Not recklessly, but confidently. Pay your bills with gratitude. Give small acts of generosity. Appreciate every form of wealth around you, sunlight, laughter, breath. Watch how the frequency around you begins to shift. Because money doesn't come through force, it comes through awareness. When you are aware, you stop operating in fear. You stop chasing shadows. You begin to realize that the source of all abundance is not out there, but in here. And once you see that, money becomes a game. You play with it, you enjoy it, you share it. You no longer cling to it because you've realized you are it. You are the energy that creates worlds, flowing through a human form. You are life expressing itself as abundance. You are not separate from the wealth you desire. You are its doorway. And when that truth sinks deep into your bones, when it stops being an idea and becomes a lived reality, then money flows so quickly that you'll laugh. You'll laugh because you'll realize it was never about the paper or the number or the bank account. It was always about you, about remembering your own creative power, your own connection to the infinite. So, my dear listener, stop asking, how do I get money? And begin asking, how do I align with the natural rhythm of abundance that already is? Stop looking to the outside world to confirm your worth. The confirmation must come from within. And when it does, when you finally rest in that inner knowing, the outer world rushes to meet you, because that's how the game works. You don't manifest money by force. You remember it into being. You awaken to what has always been true. That life, in its essence, is generous. It gives without hesitation, without withholding. And you, being life itself, are meant to do the same. So go on, open your hands, open your heart, and let it flow. Give, receive, circulate, let money move through you like breath. Because the moment you stop clutching, the moment you stop doubting, the moment you remember who you truly are, money comes. So quickly, so effortlessly, so naturally. And then you will smile, because you'll know it was never about the money at all. It was about waking up to abundance itself.